What up boyos, welcome back to another video, and today I thought I would do something that I've wanted to do for a while, and with the gameplay and release date for Shadow of the Erdtree recently being announced, I thought now would be a good time for me to talk about the things I hate about Elden Ring. Now don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore this game. I have over 600 hours of game time, I've unlocked every single achievement, and I will comfortably place it as one of my favourite ever games. But in the case of every game I sink a stupid amount of time into and play time and time again, there begins to sprout these small seeds of, what the fuck was that? Why devs? Why would you do that? Holy shit game, what the fuck? And I would like to share them with you because not every game is perfect and every game has its flaws. Some of the things can be quite specific to me and some are ones that I probably share with the wider community, so I'll talk about what I think are quite minor issues and then build up from there. So without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, we have the map. Quite unspecific, yes, but the fact of not being able to open the map if enemies are nearby. If I'm being chased by some tosser and a horse, shaving the grass below him with a massive fucking great axe before sinking it into my spine, then please game, do me the small honour of allowing me to open the map to see where the fuck I'm heading. Take away my ability to fast travel, fine, that makes sense, but at least let me open the fucking map. The noise it makes as well, god, it just pisses me off. Again, this is a very minor issue and it doesn't really affect the gameplay in the slightest. It's just one of those things that if I could change, I would. Next is an issue that I have sort of always had with Dark Souls, and it is something that has carried into Elden Ring, and that's the upgrade system. But, hear me out, the upgrade system is fantastic. It's designed in a way that makes every weapon viable to play with throughout the game. Obviously, you get some weapons that are better than others, that's natural, you're always going to get that, but every weapon from a fucking wooden spear to a greatsword once wielded by a god is a viable way to play and beat the game. If you don't know, you have smithing stones and then you have somber smithing stones. Smithing stones are used to upgrade your basic run-of-the-mill weapons, and somber smithing stones are used to upgrade like your boss weapons. The issue with this is it takes something like 12 times as many smithing stones to upgrade a basic weapon as it does somber smithing stones. In fact, there is a way in Elden Ring to very easily get to the somber smithing stones to upgrade your weapon to +9 within the first hour of the game. There is very little incentive for players to use these basic run-of-the-mill weapons, which is sad because, yes, they don't have these godlike infused abilities, but some of them are extremely fun to play with, this big fucking stick for one. But some of these weapons are just as good as, if not better in some cases, than some of the boss weapons, and I get it. The devs have designed these super cool weapons with incredible abilities, and they want players to see these weapons and use these weapons. But in a game that boasts an arsenal of over 300 weapons, you would surely want players to get a good even mix and see everything on offer. But the way the upgrade system is, and the way it's designed and so heavily tipped in the way of somber weapons, I just don't feel like a lot of players get that mix. Following on the back of that last gripe, we have another one that I have had problems with in previous From Software games, and that is the fact that bows are complete and utter horse shite, and in Elden Ring this is especially the case. I think there are something like 25 bows in Elden Ring, and there is only one which is okay, at best, and that's the black bow. There's the Lion Great Bow as well, which has a decent AoE skill when fighting big bosses, but other than that it's shit. The reason why bows are so shit though is to do with the ammo more than anything else. You have to craft arrows, and this takes time to scavenge for resources, and it also takes runes if you want to buy them. You know, the very resource that is used to upgrade yourself and equipment. You have up-teen spells in this game that you can do some insane shit with, but is it too much of a stretch to add like a magic pouch that uses mana to fire fucking spirit arrows or something, rather than crafting the shit? Like, if you wanted to use some special arrows that have different effects, fair enough, craft them, but basic arrows, what the fuck? Moving on is an issue that I definitely share with the wider community, and that is the multiplayer. Again, another issue that has spanned from soft games from days of old. Noticing a bit of a theme here, but just like in Dark Souls, I am convinced it is easier to break into the Pentagon than it is to successfully join someone's game and then stay connected for longer than 10 minutes and then having a remotely acceptable ping. But apart from the multiplayer being a pain to actually play, I don't understand why you have to fuck about with the summoning signs. Like, yeah, I get the whole in-world lore aspect of it, but it's such a pain and it's finicky and I don't like it. But then, if you're playing with a friend and you beat the area boss, you get disconnected. If one of you dies, you get disconnected. I just don't get why it's so shit. Yeah, there's the Colosseum stuff now which works differently, but even the servers and that shit. The seamless co-op mod exists, and it wouldn't be impossible for FromSoft to incorporate that. It just pisses me off. Next is not really a gripe that I have with the game, but more something that I wish existed, and that's like a boss rush mode. I think it would add a whole new layer to the game and would work really well, especially in a game like Elden Ring that has a fucking million bosses. I do get why the devs never added anything like this though. It would reduce the very serious atmospheric vibes that the game has, and would add that sort of arcadey aspect. You'd get people more focused on how long it took you to get to Elden Beast rather than the actual beauty of the game. So it makes sense that it doesn't exist. I just wish we lived in a perfect world where it could exist. For my final gripe, I am going to be talking about some bosses. No, not you. Not you, you are.
Perfect.
Surprisingly, not you, and probably even more surprisingly, not you. Here we are, foreskin duo. I really don't know what happened in the minds of the devs when designing these turds. I mean, how did we go from this to this? They're designed in a way that breaks the game, where they aren't supposed to attack at the same time, but they fucking do. Completely susceptible to sleep pots and arrows, so they can either be the bane of a playthrough and the biggest tossers to fight, or cheese to high hell with no challenge at all. No in between where they're an engaging and enjoyable fight, one fucking extreme or the other. FromSoft have done these types of fights before and smashed it out of the park. Some of them the best boss fights ever. Even the Valiant Gargoyles that are in Elden Ring aren't that bad, but these fuckers, fuck me. And you fucker, don't think you could snake away. Rykard is probably one of the worst designed bosses I think I've ever come across, and it's a shame because the build up to this fight and the cutscene is fantastic, but Jesus, whoever is responsible for this guy needs their head examined. Gimmick fights are always a nice way to hit a change of pace, introduce a new mechanic, location, whatever. But what separates this guy from a fight like Yhorm from Dark Souls 3 for example, is that whilst more difficult, you can fight Yhorm without using the gimmick weapon. You can fight and kill Yhorm without using the Storm Ruler, and it's still a viable way to fight him regardless of your build. Yes, it will take you way longer, especially if you don't have Siegward, but the fight is fun and engaging regardless. But you can't do that with this bastard, because his entire body is surrounded by a lake of lava, making it where you have to use the Serpent Hunter. You have to abandon your entire build to use a gimmick weapon to kill the gimmick boss, unless you want to spend the next 10 minutes fighting him, ripping your hair from your scalp each time he one-taps you with his face, because you were zoned out as you just spent 7 minutes fighting the dumbass bitch. Jesus. And that is it folks, thanks for listening to my Kareningness if you're still here. Elden Ring is a masterpiece and I love it. I can't wait for the DLC to come out. I've booked time off work just to play it, but you know, it's good to vent and just get it out every now and again. But yeah, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.